Rohit, should I start?
Yes, so yeah, that would be great if you can give me a quick overview that who is
Yeah.
who
My
here,
name
right?
is my name is Rohan, and I'm residing in New York.
Okay.
I'm new to this IT field, so probably I'll take more time to learn things out.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, brother.
And Jeremy. Okay. Okay. So my name is, as you guys know, right? I'm Rohit. So I have experience of at least 7+ years of in the IT, and I'm working from past 7 years on the Atlassian stack, and that comprises multiple applications from the Atlassian, and Jira is one of them. So I will be here to train you for specifically on Jira. Uh, and when it comes to Jira, right, it's all about from the core setup and all the administration tasks which you as in Jira admin you can perform, and also as a project administrator when you work on Jira, right, what all can you do and what is the difference between the normal Jira users such as project admins and what all different aspects configurations you can do in Jira. That's what I will be uh, giving you an overview of that. So let me share my screen. So you can give a quick introduction of the overview of the, what all we will cover in Jira. So what from the basic, we will start with the basic installation setup, right? So when it comes to configuration setup, right? So the basic installation, right? So I will try to explain. I will try to make you understand how the Jira setup works, right? What all the basic directories are there within the Jira? What are the important files as a Jira administrator you need to be aware of? Because those are very handy when you have to be when you are doing some configurations or doing some troubleshooting when some issues with Jira, right? So that's very one, and that's the first installation of Jira, then the configuration of Jira, because Jira is an application, right, which need to be set up with some databases, some SMTP servers. There are lots of other configuration you need to do. Depends on what uh, how much complex is the setup, right? With what is the integration you want to do for the company, right? Based on that, we need to do some firewall whitelisting and all those. So that is part of this all configuration and the CL setup. And when it is done, right, the next part is the Jira user management. That is like user lifecycle management within Jira, right? How you can onboard or deboard the Jira from a user from the Jira, and what are the security configurations you can do from your end to make Jira more secure. And the last part from the configuration of the setup is that integration, right? Because Jira is an agile tool which majorly focuses on that, majorly is meant for the developer stream, right? And the developers will be making use of day-to-day other developers tools like GitHub, Fisheye, Crucible, right? And Jira supports lots of integration with those tools as well, and it will make an easy platform for you to do the daily developers activities, right? So that's single place. That's Jira will be acting as a single place folder where you can see all the different data from multiple places all together in one place. So that's where Jira is there. So once everything is right, so what all there is, right? So it's like understanding Jira as a beginner, right? So what Jira is meant for, right? To whom all you can suggest Jira to use it, because let's say you are working as a Jira administrator within a company, right? And there's a new case, right? And the people ask you, suggest consult you, right? So whether they should, why they should you ask you, they should use Jira, right? So then you should be in a good position to answer those questions, right? Because you have to make them understand uh, what are those their requirements, and how Jira can fulfill their requirements, right? If the team is new to agile, right? So because agile is a new demand in the market, right? So we are lots of development teams right now they follow agile, safe, right? Both of these methodologies are the principles, you can say, right? So those are being you can implement within Jira to follow those principles to do the iterations or deliveries within the time specific manner, right? And once here is right how the Jira works, right? So everything when some work has to be done or tracked, right? All this work is being done within some specific manner that is called as closed environment called a project, right? So that I will explain you, right, what a Jira project is, how you can set it up, right? So how to actually understand the user requirements and how to implement them within the Jira. Okay, so this is all part of this particular session. Jira interface, that's because it's not just about Jira project setup, because they're like further setup of that. So I will be explaining those one to Jira. So and along with that, there's something called within Jira called as dashboards. Okay, that is something when you want to share your reports or some of your data with other team members without letting them to touch your own data directly, right? So it's like sort of an like you can say, right? So it's like a placeholder where anybody can go and come and visit the data, which is being merged by your team or you want to share with someone else, right? So that dashboard, right, comprises of multiple components within it, right? So these are all those are components here. You can this particular session will give an introduction how what is a dashboard is and how you can configure one for yourself and for the team, right? And if one dashboard is right on in place, right? So what all you can do with it, right? And what all functionality you can achieve it. That is all part of this one. And because this is like something it's like as a user, right? So this is like something when you need to put a requirement in place, and then once the requirement is in place, then how you want to utilize the data within that. That is part of this one as a beginner. Okay, but once you start working on these requirement, right? So there's like advanced versions or the tasks you can say, right? So that's as an admin you have to perform. So these are like something because Jira is like when you will have the Jira instance set up in your place, right? So that is like will come with basic called as functionalities, right? So as that is Java based application, they're like multiple vendors in the market which keeps on developing their own features, and Jira allows them to add those features to existing setup as well in the form of the plugins, right? So what the plugin is, so plugin are some sort of extra features. Let's say you have an Jira with a basic requirement with basic features, right? And now there's like a new feature. Let's say you are the developer, right? And now you have identified, okay, we can do this with you can create some certain jar files from using Java, and then you can add those jar files within Jira to add some extra functionalities, right? And then even if you want, you can expose those functionality to the and the customers or other members within the who are using that Atlassian stack. Those are called add-on here, right? So they have their own user management, some own setup, some configurations. That is part of all this session. Okay, and there's something called an application uses an example. So that's this conception session will be like a part of, right, what applications you can go and integrate, how you can use those applications using the Jira as well. So they're like core concepts within Jira, like issue linking, issue subtask, right? So it's all about the knowing the process and then implementing that process within Jira, right? Using the if you're, let's say your team is using Agile, right? So I will be explaining to you what Agile is, right? And how Jira is being designed around it to implement that principles within for your team or for the within the whole company, right? They're like something called as filters. Filters again, there's like you. It is like something deep dive when you start deep diving within Jira, right? So this is something very handy because Jira is a platform where you keep on adding up the data, right? So these also provide a provisioning where you can go and search that data, right? So let's say you need some reports because Jira is a very good tool. Which comes with the basic reporting. I won't say that is very good reporting because it has its own basic reporting, which you can. I think that's quite sufficient for a project manager to digest the reports, right? But let's say if you need an hardcore reports like some high-level visualization, right? Jira also supports that. What it does, it lets you to connect other applications like Power BI to integrate within Jira, and then Power BI can consume the Jira data, right? So because Power BI has its own analytics and all visualization expertise, right? So which that within too, right? So those all sort of integrations is right now possible within Jira. So this is like best practices I will be explaining, right? Because starting up with something is very easy, right? But managing that particular application when time grows, right? The system also grows, right? So you need to be very cautious, right? How your system is being designed in order to tackle up the upcoming growing data and the instance level as well. So that's what all is about. This session will be all about, right? And this common add-ons, because let's say what happens, so whenever we take up Jira, right? So it comes with the basic functionalities, right? So you need to be well aware. Let's say, yeah, someone tells you, right? So they need and there's a project manager comes to you, right? So and tells, right, I want a functionality within Jira, right, which lets me to create some Gantt charts or some sort of visualization, right? But as if you don't have the knowledge of existing add-ons, right? So you can't suggest them the possible solution what can be done in this case, right? So you should be well aware the popular add-ons right now which is there in Jira, right? And you should be, because those are very handy when you're proposing some solution for the your customers or the team, right? So that is all about the like knowing what Jira is, how the Jira can be used, right? So this is all about the first session. That's a critical one. And there's something very important session in Jira that's called Jira workflows that define. This is the very crucial or the critical, like this, critical component of Jira project, because every work or you can say, right, because Jira, everything what you do in Jira, it's form of a ticket, right? All those tickets have their own life cycles being defined by the end teams, right? All the teams have, so in some cases, some companies mainly focusing on some standard workflows, a very limited one, say, because they're like certain companies, right? Very big companies, let's say they are managing the Jira license of, I think, 10,000 user license, right? And creating multiple workflows for those teams is very difficult to manage in future, right? So what the company does, so they define the standard workflows available for all the throughout the company. So those are like sort of templates. If anybody needs any customization, some changes going further in future, right? They have to go through some specific process to get the approvals to make the further changes. This is all about that's where the workflow comes in picture, right? So you can define everything within this workflow. What a workflow is, you can define some restrictions, some conditions, some um, post function, means some automation. You can do some automation using the workflows as well. So this is all a workflow comprises of. This session is all about, where I will be letting you guys and hands out on what a workflow is, and how you can design the workflow, what all automation is possible within Jira, right? Because it's very something good feature of Jira, where lots of, let's say there's a requirement, right? Say, just take an example of, okay, so you're working on an incident, right? Is you're working with some team, right, which is managing the process for incident management, right? So let's say when you want to calculate the how much time is being consumed from ticket was in progress to, let's say, under review, right? So you can do such sort of calculation automatically by calculating some of the, what the Jira provides lots of its own libraries. Yeah, you can those make those of libraries of the classes and do some calculation, right? So I can, that's very good feature of Jira for the customization. That's called under scripting. You can do some customization and scripting, some plugins. Lots of things are available within the Jira. You can go and use, and that is very helpful for designing a very beautiful and neat and clean workflows for the different teams, right? And along with this, so when it is done, right, so another session is here where this, again, that's part of Jira administrator, which lets you to manage, because that's what I'm telling, right? So that system, when you set up a system, it keeps on growing, right? So once you have to trace out your system after 1 year, right, what has been done, it's possible, right? There's a possibility that requirements keep on coming in, you might be keep on delivering them, but after 1 year, after the gap of 1 year, right, after 1 year you're trying to evaluate a system, then you have to understand how much polluted your system is and what sort of cleanup is required after 1 year of time, and in that, at that point of time, you will understand, you will make an process or the perspective, right, what all has to be done within the Jira in order to make sure our Jira is being maintained at a proper sanity. All the sanity checks should be passed. Okay, there should be standard sanities should be maintained. It's not like you keep on adding the workflows, and those workflows after some point of time, the project which are using them are not no longer active, but still the workflow exists, because everything within Jira, right, those keeps on have their own records within database, right? So when an application is there, which keeps on having communication between data, there's a data is there, right? So that keeps on having a direct communication between the UI and the backend, right? And when there's a back and forth of the data flow, right? So there might be possibility, right? If you keep up some uh, uncontrolled loopholes, right, it will lead to some performance issues as well. Just an example, right, to be given to you, right? So we were using, so being a consultant, I have deployed it somewhere, right? So we were using another plugin, right? And the plugin, what it was doing, it was trying to pull some data from third party application, okay? And we even the system was being given quite enough memory, right? The RAM was the JVM memory what we are supposed to give, right? We're given enough memory rate, but we didn't notice that, okay, the call which it was making, that was consuming a lot of resources, due to which our memory went out of spaces, right? So at that time we have to understand, okay, this is because of the third party issue, right? So our application went down. So these sort of uh, it comes with the experience, right? So when you start learning, when you start going through the Jira application and try to understand the logs, how Jira is working. So we'll easily learn about this one. So that's why these log files are handy. They're like some certain application log file. There are some installation log files. Are there different log files for the plugins? Try to understand how the plugins are working within Jira. So all this is part of this work, right? So it keeps this part. This whole session will be comprised of that one, which will give you a clear overview of how the Jira is performing with the plugins. Is there any plugin within the Jira? So those logs will try to understand us, okay, what plugin is doing what within Jira, right? How we can understand, okay, the resources which we already given, right, provided for the Jira application, are those sufficient, right? Because Jira is a quite good application, right? But being an administrator, we have to make sure the environment which we have provided for Jira server setup, which we have done, should be cleaned up on timely basis, because it happens, right? So it doesn't, Jira doesn't clean up automatically on its own, right? So you need to write some scripts using some shell scripting or some other PowerShell, anything what you want like to choose. That's all up to you. Or you need to do some set up some manual process to clean up the servers on a timely basis. That's what it is all about. So that's this session will be about uh, giving about the user cases, as I was explaining to you, right? As I given you the case of the plugin, right? The source crunch due to the plugin, right? That's called a user case, right? So same way, there will be lots of whole set of different sets of user cases, which I will be explaining and will tell you, right? Let's say this is a user case, how you have to understand the requirement, how you have to give the such a solution for those requirements, those solve problems. So this is all about what, because the last, this is, I think this is the last session, which will be actually, this is meant for what you have learned throughout the training session, how you're going to implement once the actual user case comes to you, and how you are going to implement using those requirements, and then deploying within Jira. Yeah. So this is all the overview of the training the session and what all Jira is there. For viewing purpose, it looks very small, but when we start working on the Jira, it's actually quite lengthy and bulky process to digest, because uh, every topics here is, sometimes it's some of the topics are small, but some of the topics like JQL, like searching capabilities, right? So it, you can say, right, I can explain within one day as well, and even it may take 1 week as well. Depends on how much you are, how much fast you can learn, on how much you're good to grasp on this one. Yeah. So all up to you now. So any questions, anything you think something is missing here, or anything what has to be added up here?
Rohit, how long it will take to understand, and like what will be the duration of the course?
Yeah, minimum I will say 30 days, because I can tell you, right? So for just for, if I'll say, okay, I can train you within 1 week, right? But if I will do it that much hurry, right, that's sure, right? That's just waste of your time and my time as well. So I will say, right, at least minimum 30 days of time is required to get enough knowledge on Jira.
How many classes we gonna do in a week?
So it depends, like 1 hour session or 2 hour session, depends on you.
Every day?
So I will say yes. So I will say 1 hour per day. That will be right.
Okay. All right. Okay. No problem. All right. No problem.
Yeah. So prior to Jira, do you have any other experience, any other applications, anything?
No, for me, it's no. I'm completely new in this field.
Okay, cool. No worries. Okay. Jesse, you have any questions? So are you the only one, or Jesse is also, Jeremy is the one? How many students we have here? Okay. Jesse is having some, Jeremy is having some mic issue. Okay, no worries. I will coordinate Rohan as per that. So what is the timelines which you follow? It's CST, PST, which one?
Rohit, for me, it's EST.
PST, right?
E Echo
Okay,
Echo EST.
okay. Yep. Okay, so I will coordinate with Jesse on this. Then all about the process and when we can when can we start. So let's see
Yeah,
what
yeah,
would be
Rohit.
the possible schedules, right?
No problem, Rohit.
Okay, so Jesse, as you having, I'm not sure if Jesse and Jeremy is the same person. So I think you guys are having some mic issues. So can we disconnect them if everything is fine? Rohan, we can disconnect, right?
No problem, Rohit. Whatever you say.
Yeah. Okay. You don't have any other questions, right?
No, yeah, I'm very new. I told you, right? So
Yes.
can
Okay.
you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Yeah. Okay. Then we are
Okay,
good.
Rohit.
Okay. So yeah, I'll coordinate with that for that. Okay. Cool.
No problem. You can always text me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, Rohan. Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you,
guys.
Rohit.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ YouTube ਆਪਦਾ ਮੋਬਾਈਲ ਖੋਲ ਕੇ ਦੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਰੋਕ ਦਿਓਗੇ?
Yeah.